Yo guys, what's up? Shatter here and welcome back to another episode of Space Engineers. Today, we're starting off by recharging our energy because my god, we're low again. So, today we're gonna continue working on our ship. I think cargo hold is at the moment the goal, our project, our sub-project, so to speak. And yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Also, I'm gonna talk a little bit more about the update, since now it has been a week pretty much to, you know, let it sinking, let it you know, have an effect on me, have it time to see other people's reaction to it. So I think it's a good time to talk about it. So first and foremost, I was thinking about if I should just go through all the ship and use certain blocks from the update to improve the ship. And I decided against it because that would be enormous work. For example, I would probably put bars into the different lounges, you know, the lounges on the side and the cafeteria, but then I would have to like remodel a lot of stuff, and that's annoying. So we're not gonna do that. I might use some of the new blocks in the future. I mean, the letters, they're pretty much gonna go on the outside of the ship somewhere. I'm not gonna quite sure where, but we'll see. Yeah. And, well, the other blocks I'm not quite sure. We'll see. But we're definitely gonna use them somehow, in some capacity. Anyways, so while I'm welding the walls here, I've been thinking about the update. I've been experiencing. I've been reading a lot about people having fun or not fun with the update, and I'm just gonna say it right now because I don't know how to express it in any other way. I personally think right now the weather system update was a mistake. Let me tell you why. The problem with the weather system, as cool as it sounds, in my opinion, is it adds a danger to planets, which in turn, planets do not merit that danger, if that makes any sense. I'm specifically talking about lightning strikes, which now can occur on certain planets in certain weather conditions. Now, these things will target your stations, and I think vehicles too, and destroy or damage random blocks. Unless you have an antenna, then the lightning will strike the antenna, or a decoy block. Decoy blocks basically are like highest priority for lightning strikes. And yeah, people are not happy with that. And I can understand it. I've read a comment which is I found very interesting. There was a guy that said something along the lines of, why does Keen always program features that most players in general deactivate on their normal games anyway? Specifically referencing meteors and wolves, which, well, to be fair, I'm not like an all-knowing being, so I don't know what other people do, but I almost never play with wolves or meteors for a very specific reason. I'm gonna go into that in a second, but yeah, that's the experience I had. Most people do not care for meteors and anything of that sort, and I can understand that very well. And I wonder with the weather system if it's going to be the exact same thing. Now, here's the thing about these meteors and weather, and the lightning strikes and the wolves. Technically speaking, these are cool features. I like them in theory. Let's focus on the meteors now. Meteors are a cool thing because they add like a atmospheric danger that you have to deal with. However, it is kind of annoying that you can only activate it or deactivate it, you know? There's no more customization to that. And honestly, if I start out on a planet just having my few things together, I don't want to deal with constant meteor strikes. That's annoying as hell. Why would you want to do that? That is so annoying. You know, I think it would be much better, for example, if meteors were locally a problem. If you know what I mean. Let's say, for example, a certain planet has a meteor strike problem because it's like in a exact bad position where a lot of meteors will fall, for example. And then you as a player can actively decide, do I want to enter this planet's atmosphere and, or well, just the you know, the area around the planet and deal with these meteor strikes, or do I not want to do that yet? Because right now you will have to deal with meteors if you want to or not, and that might be good for some hardcore players that really like to get punished, but for a lot of people that's not really fun, you know? It's about having a choice of getting pelted by deadly meteors all day long or not. And then, as an added factor to that, let's say they would implement it like that. The next problem is, what the hell do I get out of the deal, so to speak? You know, when you get these dangers like wolves, like lightning strikes, like meteors, I think they just make the game more unattractive because you don't get anything for it. Especially with the lightning strikes and the wolves, because they make planets more dangerous and more unviable to live on. And what do you get in return from a planet? Let's say you left your starting planet, you got into space, now you're in space, and now you find another planet, and that planet has crazy like meteor storms and frickin' wolves and a atmosphere that is very, very reactive. It will have lightning storms all the time. In what universe would I as a player decide, yeah, let's go down there? You know, there's no reason to. There was never a reason to go back to planets before, and now you just added more reasons to never ever go back to a planet. Not even for fun, because that has been kind of taken away by even more dangers on planets. You know, there needs to be some balance here between danger and reward. And I know, real life, that wouldn't be the case. I mean, in real life, there's a shit ton of planets out there in our universe, in our solar system. No, not in the solar system, in the universe. That are just barren rocks that probably will never be useful to us in any way. I understand that. But this is not reality, this is a game. You want us to play with your stuff, right? You want us to experience the things you create. And planets have been a huge draw for me at the beginning, because I thought, hey, that is cool. Finally something different than space. But in the end, you gave the players something that is more annoying than useful, you know? And if you have something that's more annoying than useful, then it won't be long before players will just drop it entirely and not use it anymore. You know? If you want to compare it, for example, to No Man's Sky, I know it's not the best comparison because they're fundamentally different games, but No Man's Sky has a nice balance to these things. You know, there's planets on No Man's Sky that if you land on them and you don't have proper equipment, you will probably survive for about a minute on the planet's surface. However, there are planets that have these dangerous environments, but they do have rare minerals that you won't get normally on no other planets. So that's kind of the balance here, you know? And that gives me a motivation to go down to these planets and actually interact with them. That's something that Space Engineer is lacking. It's very, very distinctively lacking something like that. You know? It is just... Yeah, the thing is, if I have to force myself to go down to a planet just because, then it's not a complete feature, then it's not well implemented.
Energy critical.
And I don't know what the priority is for Keen here, you know, if planets... I don't know if they just put them in because people asked for them and then they never plan to do anything with them. That would be kind of a shame. But yeah, you know, there just needs to be something on planets worthwhile. And I'm not talking about some random freaking drones or something that spawn in that will give you maybe a skin that you have already. I'm not talking about something like that. No, no, no. I mean actual reason to go there. Because right now the problem is that in space you get everything you need. Every resource, every ore is available in space. There's no reason to go to planets. Now, how would you solve that? That's kind of difficult. Well, you could obviously do the quote-unquote lazy thing and just say certain ores are just spawning on certain planets.
No
Obviously,
energy.
that's something you could do. The problem with that is that if you do that, you have to be really, really clever about it, because you don't want to hide ores that are very important for basic functionality to be hidden away on some weird, dangerous planet. That's not what you want. I have the feeling the problem here is that Space Engineers just has not enough stuff. It's a very generic thing to say, but, you know, let's say we add like 10 more different ores to this game. And then we diversify the recipes a little bit and make it so that, for example, jump drives and like really end-gamey components need like super special mega rare materials that are only available on planets, you know? Something along those lines. And that would give the players incentive to seek out a certain kind of planet, you know? Or if you want players to interact with, let's say, very basic planets like Earth-like planets, like these ones. I mean, you cannot place really rare materials on these because they're just too nice to live on, you know? But if you still want people to actually seek out these planets, then, you know, maybe something that we need is farming, you know? Plants, food, that only grows on planets with sufficient atmosphere. Then stuff like this might become useful again. Although I would think it also should be possible to grow stuff in space, but much more complicated. But you know what I mean? We just need... It sounds weird, but right now there's not enough like core game iteration here, you know? Right now the core game loop is, at least for me, start on a planet, get resources to fly into space, in space, build a big ship, that's it. There needs to be more to that. There needs to be more like back and forth, you know, planet to space, from space to next planet, down to the planet, and then from planet back to space. Because in a survival game, I've never ever built a atmospheric landing ship. I've never descended to a planet with a ship before, you know. I've only escaped from planets because that's the only reason, you know, the only reasonable thing to do. So yeah, that's what I mean. So yeah, I think you understand what I mean with that, right? But yeah, anyways, let me now that I've ranted for about 15 minutes, let me go back to my actual project here. So as you can see, I've added 2 large cargo containers here, and I think that's the way I'm gonna keep it for now. 2 large ones, and then here we'll have a room that will feature like a bunch of cargo containers, like in a row or something. I'm not quite sure how we're actually gonna display it, but hold on, let me... We're also gonna have like a pre-room, just like we had in the oxygen fabrication over there. A little pre-room where we're gonna have some PC screens and stuff like that. So how big is that gonna be? Let's make it fairly small, like that. So that's 3 by 5. And now we're gonna add... What are we gonna add here, I wonder? Hold on, so let's put it like this. I'm just trying to think how we could make this into an interesting looking room. Let me just try something here. Let's say we do this.
Inventory.
Take these away. and then we put some like stacks of crates here. Like, not stacks of crates, but containers here, right? Let me just weld these real quick so we have a bit more space. There we go. You know, stack small cargo containers here. Maybe 1 row, maybe 2 rows. And what happens if we do the same thing on this side? How will that room look afterwards? Oh, can we... Oh, hold on. Oh, yes, we can. We might be able to do 2 of these right next to each other. Yeah. Okay. I see how this looks. Like, oh, shit. Wait, that... Oh, no, that will not work. That will definitely not work how I intended it to work. Unless we're not using these kind of slopes. Let me just think about this, because technically, design-wise, I like this. You know, having these the containers set into the walls like that. I kind of like the idea, but that will take away a lot of room here. Like that much of room it will take away. You know what I mean? I don't know. It would have been nice to have 2 right next to each other, but... Yeah, we probably will just fill this off. Yeah. Let's do that. Okay, whatever. It's fine. Alright, let me start welding this. So here is going to be like a little room with some terminals and again some LCD panels, which we're going to use automated LCD panel scripts on to display cargo room. And then there's going to be some cargo in here. I might even stack this up all the way to the ceiling. We'll see. But yeah. And then back there's going to be the big cargo holds. Now, I imagine that these things, that's not all the cargo holds we're going to have. But these are, I would call them like personal vaults. Or like, yeah, just vaults. Not cargo storage, but vaults. Where important stuff is kept. You know, not just like normal, I don't know, ore for transportation, but maybe some important stuff is stored in here, like valuables and I don't know what. Which means we probably might have to add like something like a security. Oh, hold on. Yeah, I have an idea. What if we use this space here for something like a security checkpoint of some description? Let me think. Let me think for a second. Take all of these away. And then we add... not this, but like this. Yeah, I think we can make a little security checkpoint here. That will work. Totally. You know what, with like a camera, and maybe even a turret. Not quite sure. Like an interior turret, a small one. Not connected to any, like grid. You know, not connected with conveyors. Which, I'm not even sure you can connect interior turrets to conveyors, but yeah. Something like that, where you have to walk through here, get like identified by a camera before you can walk through. And then this door will be opened by some security operator of some description. I think that could be kind of cool. And then you will be led into the vault storage, where you can go to your personal vault thingy and put your valuables in. Something like that, you know? Kind of like a bank vault, where you have a lot of little lock boxes, and you have your little key, and you go to your lockbox, open it up, put your stuff in. So this is more like private storage, or like passenger storage. I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna call it, but something along those lines. And yes, these vaults obviously will bleed up into the maintenance layer, which is fine for the most part. We just have to encase the whole area a little bit, so, you know, just from a logical standpoint, so yeah, you cannot access the vaults from the maintenance layer. That would be like a bank robbery then, if you cut yourself through the maintenance layer into the vaults. Heists in space! Right, these are the wrong blocks. Shame on me. That is terrible. Ah. There we go. Still completely the wrong blocks. Get rid of that one and that one. Okay. Right. I think here we're just gonna have a normal ceiling. Right. With a vent into the middle of the room. Like that. I think that's okay. Also, my game is getting laggier with every episode because of the amount of blocks we just put into this stuff here. That's incredible. But that's how it is. You know, big projects need big sacrifice. In this case, we're sacrificing our frame rate to the great gods of space engineers and Clang. Let me just recharge some energy, and then we're gonna add a few more plates, and then we're done for today. No time lapse today, I don't think. Today I had to talk about this whole weather system, danger reward kind of thing, because you know, when I did the update video, I was very hyped about the update. So I think throughout the update, I mentioned the thing with the weather system and danger and planets, but I wasn't very in depth on it. And I was very enthusiastic about the whole update, which I still am. I like the update, but I think I just got the wrong components. I think it's also important to, you know, see the criticism and, you know, talk about it. Because otherwise, if I wouldn't talk about the criticism, which is legit and fair, it would be kind of like a fanboy-ish kind of thing, you know, where I say, oh no, they cannot do any harm and Keen always does things right, and that's not the case. So yeah, that's something they definitely need to work on in the future. Well, sometime in the future of space engineers, whenever that might be, right? Sometimes it's kind of hard to tell when the future of space engineers is, because I think, well, are we still? No, we're not in early access anymore, but we're still in, or is it officially released yet? I actually don't know anymore. I lost track of that because I play so many early access beta games, I lose track of what is actually released at that point and whatnot. But anyway, let me get some more containers out here. Yes, these bad boys. Now I have the T key activated again. Yeah, I think we're just gonna do it one layer. That's fine. So let me just get all of these done. Or locked up, or whatever you want to call it. Nice. Right, and then we have to weld all of these things as well. That's gonna be quite a pain, because they take a lot of components. Alright, one more shipment of steel plates we will build into the system, and then we're done for today. Slow and steady wins the race. Well, it's not a race, really, but you know, as we do on this channel, we take things slow and methodically. Or at least that's my excuse. There we go. Just getting that welded. Here, I think we're just gonna do like a central vent. And I'm not quite sure how I'm gonna install the camera, but we'll see. Also, with the camera, by the way, just like a little rant here. Cameras, base game cameras, in my opinion, are useless as hell. because you cannot move the view from the camera. You know, they have the nice camera design with the big globe, which hides a camera behind it, which technically could be moving. But then if you view the camera, you cannot move it. And so if you don't, like, place the camera on fucking floor level, you basically don't see shit. And that's... I don't know. I find that a terrible design choice. But maybe that's something like ladders. It's so obvious and they should implement it and it's gonna come like in 10 years or something. I don't know. But yeah. So, we started with the cargo. Hopefully next week we're gonna be able to finish that up. Shouldn't take too much longer now that we have the basic floor plan. So, yeah. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time and, yeah. Take care.